The Home Grow series, presented by the Evolution magazine. It is Thursday, October 1st, 2020. And we are here at Happy Rock Farms in Kansas City. Tonight we have Leigh Carr of Hemp and Heidi Rayl from Zayden's Alliance. Tonight's discussion is about the benefits of cannabis for pediatric patients. Be sure to ask questions during the show and we will get to them the best we can. In our second half, we catch up with McSwain of MCIA and the KC Grow Coach with information about cultivating on a budget. There are a lot of giveaways tonight, so tag a friend in the comments who may be interested or in need. The show will begin at 7 p.m. And now, a word from our sponsors.
The Missouri Cannabis Industry Association is working toward a cannabis industry that maintains local control over a free market full of genuine Missouri-owned businesses. This free market should facilitate access to quality medicine at affordable prices. We mention prices because we don't feel like it's adequate to simply have medical cannabis available. An adequate supply must be available at affordable prices so that patients can purchase as much medication as they need and aren't limited strictly by finances. We feel the best route to accomplish this is to lift total license caps for the industry because, by doing so, natural market competition will create supplies and prices that are very patient-friendly. We are also working to amend the Missouri Constitution to allow for adult use cannabis, protect home growers' rights, and to expand the caregiver program so that your fine skills can help more people have access to the medicine they need. If these initiatives sound appealing to you, we need your help. Your help will strengthen our voice and include your own. With memberships starting at $10 a month, check out mocia.org for more information on benefits and discounts. Now, sit back, relax with your favorite medicine, and enjoy the show.
Hello, Missouri. 816-237-8583, Progressive Osteopathic Therapies. I am Dr. James McIntyre, Doc Mac of thegreenpotclinic.com. I would like to provide you with the solution to your medical marijuana clinic needs. Doc Mac has got your back. I provide VIP clinic services. Your dollars stay in Missouri. I operate an actual clinic, not a marketing company or a scam for fraudulent certifications. I fix fraud. I educate patients. I am available after the payment, not just before. When you decide you need to get certified or when you need recertified, come experience the Doc Mac difference. 816-237-8583.
MoGrow Solutions is Kansas City's premier cannabis consulting company, offering doctor recommendations, state application upload assistance, state-approved medical transport boxes, infused KC's locally sourced CBD honey and dog treats, and much more. Come see us at our two new Missouri locations, one in Kearney at 408B West 6th Street, and one at 1418 Missouri Boulevard, Suite E in Jeff City. If you can't make it to one of our locations, we also are the only clinic in the state to offer in-home visits. MoGrow Solutions, consult, learn, and grow.
Hey everybody, Big V here coming to you from Kansas City, and there's so many exciting things going on here since we've been given the freedom to use medical cannabis. And one of the things that we've been given the freedom to do is to grow our own cannabis. And so there's a lot of people out there right now, maybe you're one of them, who's thinking about growing their own medication so they're not spending the high prices that it costs to get it from the dispensary or wherever they're going to get it from. And that's where I come in. I'm going to teach you from start to finish how to grow your own medication, what equipment you need, get you set up and work with you to customize a program that fits your particular situation. Most of my clients that come to me, they're new, they've never grown at all, and they have absolutely no idea where to start. And so I'm going to walk you through and help you understand the laws. I'm going to help you understand how to stay compliant and teach you how to do all the little things that you need to know to be successful from here on out. So if you're struggling Maybe you've been out there looking through the internet trying to find the answers and you just can't get them all together in one place. Get a hold of me, KC Grow Coach, www.kcgrowcoach.com, and I can definitely help you get to where you want to go and accomplish your goals as far as cultivating your own medication.
Green Gene Terpene here backstage at the Cannabis Bowl Nationals, the Auto Growathon, a 4-state competition pitting grower against grower, where they all grow the magic melon auto flower from Humboldt seeds. Tonight, I'm joined by the Missouri Madman. What brings you into this competition, sir?
Well, I'm going to tell you one thing, Green Gene. 25 large. And I'm going to be in charge when I put my stamp on the rest of the competition.
There you have it. The Madman means business. We're going to kick this back to you, Bill.
Extracts High Performance Botanicals, an extraction and processing company located in North Kansas City, Missouri. Extract services include tolling and split processing, along with the wholesale of raw materials, such as crude oil to water-soluble cannabinoids. More info at extracts.com. Hariam Consulting is composed of medical cannabis industry and holistic professionals to serve the patient community and the industry as a whole. An effort to provide patients with the most supportive and professional experience, and even provide an on-site nurse during your cannabis journey. Offering nurse and pharmacist consults, patient and industry education, energy healing, psychedelic education, and so much more. They offer a full scope of services to patients, industry, and ancillary businesses. Find them online or give them a call today. Aiden's Alliance exists to help Missouri's special needs families afford their children's cannabis-related expenses. As the need for assistance grew in Missouri, so did Aiden's Alliance family. Zayden's Coalition is designed specifically for those with terminal illnesses. Their motto is Terminal to Thriving. They seek to establish a low-cost program for terminal cannabis patients, set up home grows and caregiver training, and be a supportive guide along the way. The last thing a terminal patient should have to worry about is the cost of their medicine. Tonight's episode is streaming live from Happy Rock Farms, conveniently located in the heart of Midtown, Kansas City, Missouri. Happy Rock Farms strives every day to provide the very best equipment, tools, supplies, and expertise to growers at all experience levels. Owned and operated by growers for growers, more than just another retail store, a space for research, learning, and community building. With a price match guarantee, you can rest assured that you always get the best products for the best price in town. Open daily from 10 to 7, Sundays noon to 4. Happy Rock Farms, fine gardening, and hydroponic solutions. Tonight's video is provided by Cat King Films. Check this out. Cat King Films is offering promotional content, commercials, training videos, wedding videos, and documentary-style video production at an affordable price. A free consultation comes with every project to ensure that it is personalized to your brand. Check out previous projects by exploring the different sections on the newly launched website at catkingfilms.com. Please take a moment to acknowledge our network affiliates and streaming affiliates across the state of Missouri. The Home Grow Series is made possible by the cooperation of many groups coming together to provide an educational platform for the community. We'd like to thank all our affiliates and sponsors, and will feature different groups each week. Now stay tuned for the Home Grow Series, starting at 7 p.m., just moments ahead.
Hello, Missouri, friends and family of the cannabis side of things. Thank you so much for watching tonight. It is the Home Grow Series live from Happy Rock Farms. I think this is episode number 25 or 26. I don't know. Everything's kind of running together right now with the industry taking off. We've been all over the state capturing some of the first dispensaries that are about to open up, and we have lots of things coming to you guys in some videos very soon, so make sure you keep your eyes peeled on our Facebook page. But tonight, we have a very special show. We have Eric McSwain from MCIA, Leigh Carr from Hemp, and Heidi Rayl with Zayden's Coalition. Tonight, we're going to be talking about minors and marijuana, and then a little bit later in the show, we're going to bring Big V, the KC Grow coach, on the show and talk about growing on a budget. But before I pass it over to them, I want to give a quick thanks to all of our sponsors. Of course, MCIA, our gold sponsor tonight. This is their show. They're the ones that pick the guests. These are some great guests tonight. We have some really great things to talk about. Also, KC Grow Coach, as I said, he'll be on the show later tonight. Another one of our sponsors. Next week's show, he's going to be guiding that show, talking about some auto flowering, some other things with that. Also, Humboldt Green and the Auto Growathon, that's in full swing right now. We're also going to check in. Eric McSwain is also on the Happy Rock team along with Big V, and we're going to do check in on his grow a little bit later tonight. And then in future shows, we're going to keep checking in on all those different 10 team members, I believe, is the number here. And then I think in St. Louis, we're going to check in on some of their grows in future episodes. So stay tuned for that. Also, thank you to Extracts, another one of our sponsors. Our last show of this month, we're going to go to the Extracts facility in North Kansas City. We're going to do the show live from there, showing all of their manufacturing equipment and everything they've got going on in the industry. Some exciting things. Really looking forward to that show. I got to look at my cheat sheet here because we got a lot of sponsors. MoGrow Solutions. He's also one of our production crews. They'll take care of all of your paperwork with DHSS. And also Doc Mack. Thank you to him. He's one of the very few doctors in Missouri that does certifications for minors because he is a licensed pediatrician. And so that'll be a little bit more we'll talk about later on tonight. And by the way, we're going to be giving away a free certification tonight. So just tag a friend to enter that competition. You can use it for a renewal as well. And then some of our other prizes tonight, we have a gift basket from Hemp, filled with some of her amazing CBD products. So we'll get to that here shortly. And then also a free nurse consultation from her as well. And then Heidi Rayl with Zayden's Coalition, they're going to be giving away a green swag bag filled with cool stuff, a T-shirt, and then a free month's membership to Zayden's Coalition as well. So if you want to enter in for any of those prizes, all you have to do is tag a friend. You can tag as many friends as you would like, and you get re-entered into that giveaway. Let me check and make sure I got a hold of everybody. I think I covered everybody. So before I pass it over, remember, you guys, this is an interactive show. We take questions, we take comments, give a shout out where you're from. And if you have any kind of comments, just be a part of the show. Make some comments, and we'll get to them. There's a monitor right here for them to check out those questions. So please be take an active role in the show tonight. And one last thing, thank you to our film woman here, Cat King Films, behind the camera here. She's done some amazing work with us on some videos that we're going to be launching soon over the next week or two. And then, of course, James Thomas, the wizard behind the production board, making this all happen. Very complicated stuff happening tonight as we bring Heidi Rayl into a Zoom call with two people on camera. It's a lot going on, and he's the man to make it all happen. So without further ado, let's put our hands together for the host of the show, Eric McSwain.
Hey, everybody. Hey everybody, good to have you. I think Clay's getting kind of good at this intro thing. What do you think? Yeah?
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. I'm excited about the show tonight. We're going to bring a couple different things to you. We're going to lead off the evening because we know bedtimes are a big deal to this crowd, but I'd like to talk about minors, medical marijuana, kids and cannabis. It's a sensitive subject. It's one that you need some attention to. You'll need guidance on ultimately, just because of who these kids are to us. But we've got some giveaways as we go along. In the second half of the show, we're going to talk about getting growing on a budget, because that's where pretty much everybody starts, is a little micro grow and just trying to get it done and trying to make some good medicine. So, but at any rate, first guests are Leigh Carr and Heidi Rayl. Leigh, good to have you with us. Leigh's a member of ours. Tell us about yourself, Leigh. You run a company?
Yeah, well, thanks for having
multiple?
me. Yes, so the first company that I founded was Hemp, and that company was founded when I saw the need for quality CBD products in and around our area. And then our sister company, Hemp Consulting, was founded when I saw the need for cannabis education, and as the Missouri industry was emerging, working with some Missouri applicants as a consultant on their application. So I'll be working with a couple of different dispensaries that'll be opening up here within the next weeks, and we'll be announcing those within literally the next week as well.
Awesome.
So I do nurse consulting, as well as I'm a Reiki master, so I do incorporate energy work as well into a lot of the services that I offer.
Very cool, very cool. And now you've got a giveaway for us tonight.
I do.
Right? What do we have here?
So
is this what's being
yep,
given away?
So,
okay,
we have the 3 products. We have a bottle of our 350 milligram CBD. Then we have our New Moon bath soak that we just launched, and you can also find that on Amazon. And then we have our throat chakra bath bomb, which has Epsom salt in it, eucalyptus, peppermint, and Roman chamomile.
Mm-hmm. And is this?
That's the free nurse consult.
Okay.
That whoever wins will get to talk with me, and I can guide them on how to properly dose with CBD, or if they're wanting to look into CBG, which is Heidi's son, Zayden, takes our CBG and has been seeing wonderful results with that.
We're going to talk more about that here in just a second. So type in a name of somebody you think might be interested in this portion of the show. All you got to do is tag them. We're watching the comments over here, and that'll get you entered in this drawing. If this is what you want in particular, mention that along with the name. Put 2 or 3 names in there. It's great. We're going to have some good information. Now, Heidi, how you doing over there?
Hi, guys.
Yeah, pretty good.
I'm feeling better today. So it's a good day. Yes.
Great to hear.
Thank you for having us.
And you are an MCIA member as well, and a very special cause with Zayden's coalition. I know MCIA has been friends with Aiden's Alliance for quite some time, and why don't you tell me a little bit about what you do?
Okay, so Aiden's Alliance was originally started to help families of special needs children with all of their alternative therapy needs. As we kind of progressed, we realized there was a huge need, despite age, for all those that are low income, veterans, as well as disabled, for assistance with all alternative things. So we have helped over 200 patients this year by providing the funds to cover their doctor's expenses as well as their state fees, so they could have their medical cannabis cards, so everyone can be legal with their medicine. Aiden's Alliance has gotten so big that we decided to create little wings. We're all one big family, so we're blessed to work together. Our side is Zayden's Coalition, named after our son, Zayden. We specialize in assisting all terminal patients with everything alternative. Our goal is to establish a discount program for medical cannabis throughout the state, as well as help terminal patients set up home grows and just thrive on their journey, whatever that may be.
Awesome. I love it. And of course, it can't go without saying, but I'd guess Zayden's really what drove you to this community and that, right? I mean,
Yes.
would you like to, is it okay to talk about that a little bit?
Oh, for sure. So Zayden is 11. When he was born, he was very typical, but 2 days before he turned 3 months old, he had his first seizure. It lasted 4 hours, and he was actually overdosed by a nurse by mistake and died that day. And the helicopter team brought him back, and for years it was our fight. Every 5 to 7 days, we were in an ambulance or a helicopter. We would give him 62 milligrams of Valium before we called paramedics. The paramedics would then push between 20 and 40 more milligrams to take him the 36 miles from our house to our stabilization hospital. So my baby would have 102 milligrams of Valium when 5 is an adult dose. He would seize for hours, and a seizure that lasts over 5 minutes has a 20% higher chance of death. And we had tried everything from pharmaceuticals to special diets to brain implants, and nothing worked. And we weren't willing to let our son die. So we started our fight for medical cannabis in the state. Thankfully, we won a few years ago, and he has been thriving. He uses Leigh CBG. He's a CBD THC patient as well. He is a full spectrum kiddo, and we're 11. We're talking. We are making signals as if we understand our bathroom needs. We're referencing our food. Things that we were never ever supposed to do. They told us that we would be very blessed if he lived to be 2. And we are very blessed because we're 11 and still thriving, and it is because of cannabis. Zayden did have a terminal diagnosis, and through cannabis, he is thriving. So we are very, very blessed.
Awesome. That's amazing. I love that story. I love that story. And, you know, so there had to have been a certain moment whenever you turned to cannabis and or found a treatment that really helped. What was that process like? How did you get there?
Well, you'll do anything to save your kid. And 6 years ago, Zayden was having a bad seizure, and I just started recording him. And my husband and I had discussed it first. There wasn't a script. There wasn't a plan. I just knew we were out of options. And in the video, I just pleaded and begged for anyone who could help, any ideas. The last resort for us was medical cannabis, but it wasn't available. And wonderful people from across the state stepped up to help us. And we had to be terrified as parents. Our son was illegally alive, which is Colton Turner's wonderful saying for his foundation. Rather be illegally alive than legally dead. And we agreed. And so we did what we had to do. We tried all different meds. And that's a big advice I have for parents is don't give up. If you try one CBD that doesn't work or one THC, but keep trying. Don't stop. All different strains, processing. We went through countless kinds before we found our connection, what worked well for us.
Good. That's good. And hopefully it keeps on thriving. Now Leigh, you know about Zayden's condition.
Absolutely.
Can you tell us a little about that and a little about the treatment and why it's helping him most likely? I know there's
so Zayden has several seizures, and cannabis has shown that with epilepsy, so Dr. Sulak and Bonnie Goldstein did a study in 2017 that showed that cannabis reduces the frequency and severity of seizures by over 50% reduction in seizures, and they can also come off lots of medications with it. So generally patients with epilepsy are a polypharmacy and on several medication. I know Heidi and Zayden were on how many at one time?
So Zayden was on 8 seizure meds, and I was on 2 before cannabis. We both have epilepsy.
And how many is he down to now?
And now he is down to 2 with plans to come off both of those, and I am down to 0.
Yeah. So if that's not a testament that cannabis can help, I don't know what is. The reason she was saying that it took so many different products to figure out what worked best for them, that's because everyone has their own unique endocannabinoid system, and what works for one person isn't necessarily going to work for another person. So it's there is a trial and error process. There are new things that you can do to avoid spending hundreds and thousands of dollars testing different products. My consulting service actually offers this now. It's cannabis DNA testing, where we can swab your mouth, we can send it away, we can tell you if you have any genetic anomalies or anything, and then we can show you the certain terpene profiles that would be best suited for you dependent on what comes back on your genetic testing. We also have a pharmacist now with our consulting that will go over that with you, and then can also go over your meds to see if there's any drug or interactions with cannabis. There's not a lot of people that know there are drug interactions with cannabis, and you have to be very careful with epilepsy because there are over 16 different known drugs that are used in epilepsy that do have drug interactions that can either increase the amount in your system or decrease the amount. So if you're not working with your physician and following your levels, then you can see something that you don't want, either an increase of seizures, and so, so cannabis is getting further.
She's very, very important.
Right, for sure.
Yeah.
And
that's very
just a
important.
reminder,
That was one thing.
Go ahead, Heidi.
Oh no, I was just gonna say with Zayden's on-fee, that was one of the medications that interacted really bad, and so we had to be very cautious with starting cannabis with him. Now we struggle with taking away on-fee because they have meshed so well in Zayden's system. Either on-fee and cannabis work great, or they completely reject each other. And because Zayden's system works really well, it makes it a little harder for us to come off of that medicine. So it actually causes more seizures to take it away because it works so well together. But it's more dangerous to leave them on it. And we are very, very excited for Leigh's genetic testing. Zayden will be receiving that.
No kidding. I mean, at least that would give like a good starting point, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, because everybody's different. And don't forget, everybody, tag somebody who might be interested in this conversation. This is serious stuff. This is our children, okay? So bring them over and send in your questions too, right? This is very important. If you want to know about something in particular, we've got some really smart ladies on the line right here, so let's get some information now. Epilepsy isn't the only...
Yep. So my son has ADHD, and we have been successfully dosing him with CBD for over 2.5 years now. At the ripe age of just 4, they were trying to shove down Ritalin and Adderall down his throat. And I walked away from that appointment with my husband. We looked at each other and we said, we're not doing this. Went home, did some research, and this was as CBD was becoming very mainstream and popular. And we decided to go the alternative route. And like I say to anyone wanting to start it, we saw results, basically within the same day in his anxiety level. It took him from a 10 down to a 5 or 6. Now we say, it takes him from a 10 down to a 2 or 3 when we dose him every morning. So we're dosing him twice a day. But again, it took us a while to figure out what his proper dose was. Because first we started with an isolate, and that made him over hyper, like it made him worse. And so then I did more research and studied, whole plant medicine is where you want to be with a lot of the disorders that children are having, autism, epilepsy, ADHD. So you want to see a full spectrum product.
Yeah, and so is it fair to say that you would go toward the full spectrum product because that therapeutic window, that safety margin is a lot wider? I mean, it's a lot easier to, begin the process of finding the right dose of what that's going to help. I mean, what is it about the
full spectrum? The entourage effect. So CBD, THC, and the terpenes work together as a synergistic effect to create the entourage effect. So
I see.
They work better together, like peanut butter and jelly.
That's right. Well, I like to say that, THC and CBD can be the engine, but the terpenes are kind of like your steering wheel.
Terpenes matter so much.
I mean,
limonene is great for ADHD. Okay. It can really help with focus.
And that was limonene?
Limonene. And we do have a broad profile of that in our CBD oil, so that's why it does help very well with ADHD.
Perfect. And so is it fair to say too that, that there's a number of different varieties and you can find just about any combination of terpenes that you need? I mean, what's your experience? Can someone find something generally that's going to work for them, or no?
Yes and no. We are getting there. There are now tests that can show the remaining terpene profiles in products. It's just whether the company's taking that extra step to do that lab testing, because it is expensive and it's harder to do. Sure. There are companies that are also doing isolate and then adding in terpenes. Not the same thing. Also, what was the question? Sorry.
About the availability of the terpene
Yes.
profiles, combinations for it. Okay.
My hopes and my dreams are that one day you'll be able to walk into a dispensary, you'll be able to do that cannabis DNA test. The pharmacist on staff will be able to go in the back and make you the tincture with the cannabinoid profile, the terpene profiles that you
that'd be
need
sweet.
by extracting.
Just pull a handle and get just what you need out. That'd be awesome.
Yeah. So, as well as doing genetic profiling with cannabis plant. We see people doing hybrids all the time.
Sure.
Taking the different hybrid.
Designing just for even an individual sometimes. So what about children with, muscular dystrophy or, medical issues that are in that?
So it would be
category?
dependent on what they're wanting to help with. Is it the spasticity? Is it anxiety? Is it sleep? So MS would be another thing that have many diagnoses within a diagnosis. But yes, it can help with spasticity. It can help with pain. It can help with spasms. Therefore, helping with sleep. So.
Right, just like Parkinson's, and I mean, what are some of the other conditions that are in that muscle spasticity?
Parkinson's disease, Huntington's disease.
Okay, yeah, and I've seen some of the
MS.
effects of that myself. It takes the
ALS.
calms down that shake, right? So, do you need a special doctor, like a pediatric doctor, to get the recommendation for a minor, or is it just any MD or DO who's willing?
I'm going to let Heidi take that over because she helps patients daily through Aidens and Zaydens.
Good call. So did you hear the question, Heidi? So
I'm going to I did, and then I was going to backtrack and just add one little warning, though,
Sure.
about full spectrum, if that's appropriate. So I'm a full believer in full spectrum for everyone who can take it, but there is right now still a stigma behind it in regards to student athletes and things like that, because you will test positive for THC. So if you are using full spectrum on a typical kid for anxiety and things like that, you do need to be cautious about MSHA rules, competitive sports, things like that, because if they are drug tested for those, they can be punished, which is something that needs to change. It's our goal to get that changed. COVID kind of slowed everything down, but that is kind of a heads up to watch for with full spectrum if there's any risk of drug testing. Even as medical cannabis patients, for minors, there's no protections for students in athletes. I'm sorry. It's a terrible thing to add there. I'm sorry, but just it's not, in Missouri. I don't know about anywhere else. But,
Right.
So in regards to patients, so you do not have to see a pediatrician to obtain your card. There are some pediatricians in the state that are giving recommendations, which is wonderful. I know like Dr. Rourke, Jason Sims, they're doing pediatric recommendations as well through their clinics. I also want to make note that through Aiden's Alliance, all children are free. We cover them. There shouldn't have to be a concern for parents to have fear of how they'll pay for that doctor's appointment for their child. Excuse me. So if your kiddo needs their card, please let us know at aidensalliance.org. We'd love to help.
Awesome. I love that. And we got to plug that over and over. Don't forget to tag some folks. We're not done. We've still got some mileage to cover here. And that reminds me, Heidi, what's that like on the real human end? Whenever you're in a community, maybe small town Missouri, this works for your child. You're kind of like that parent. I mean, at first, I know it's got to be nerve-wracking. I've been in that situation, but this is your story. I mean, what's it like? What was it like at first, and what's it like now? I mean, did it turn out okay?
Yeah, so in the very beginning, we had not so much in our community, because our community is beautiful and wonderful here, and they've always loved and supported our son. There was some standoffishness from people in regards to cannabis, but as a whole, we were really attacked in the beginning. We were told the most horrid things you could possibly imagine, things that we should do to our son and to ourselves, and how we should basically all be dead because we want to fight for cannabis. Now it's not the same thing. The last time I spoke in the Capitol, they were all so welcoming. The House, a representative wrote me a beautiful letter. Walking around in our community, I am a very open cannabis advocate here, and everyone still says hi and is happy because they've seen Zayden. Since he started cannabis 6 years ago, we've not dialed 911, and we called every single week. He has not been transported in an ambulance or a helicopter in 6 years because he started cannabis. So our community sees that. Our police see that. Our ambulance crews, our first responders, they all have seen Zayden develop and start to thrive, which is helping change minds.
That's amazing. And hopefully that's the way it's going to be. I mean, it's probably a little slow now because people are still trying to get access that they need, right? But over time, surely everybody in the state within a couple of years is going to know somebody who knows somebody who's legitimately benefiting from this amazing plant. So now that's good news. That's good news. I'm glad that folks are coming around. There's acceptance. There's understanding. That's great. So now, does Zayden happen to suffer from anxiety as well? I mean, is that part of? Yeah.
It is, yes. So he has mutations on his PNKP gene, which is caused MCSV. He's the only child in the state of Missouri, and we had our diagnosis. He was the 5th in the United States and the 15th in the world. We do know that there has been some more diagnoses made since then. So those numbers have changed, but we're still the only in the state. Part of his condition mimics autism. So he has extreme hyperactivity, the anxiety, he will chew his fingers just raw. And even though we were on CBD THC, he couldn't sit still until we started Leigh CBG. And now that he uses Leigh CBG twice a day, Zayden will sit and watch a movie. And that's a brand new part of my son I got to meet thanks to Leigh's
love
products.
it, watching movies with the guy. That's awesome. Leigh, tell us more about young kids and anxiety and.
So THC can be anxiety inducing, so it's not something that I would suggest for a 12-year-old at all. CBD and CBG is definitely somewhere that you can start with a 12-year-old. Obviously starting low, going slow, increasing your dose. It's biphasic, so take too much, it won't work. Don't take enough, it won't work. So you got to find your sweet spot. Increase slowly is what I would suggest. And again, don't give up on the first one that you try because it may not be the terpene profile or the correct product for her. There's different carrier oils. There's MCT. There's avocado oil. So
whenever you say start low, go slow, I mean, even when we're taking XYZ medicine, I mean, pick one. Basically,
they say
it takes some
approximately
time.
6 milligrams per kilogram per day is where to start.
Okay. And that, you have to your body has to get accustomed to that though, right?
Yes.
I mean, yeah.
But again, it's not everyone's endocannabinoids the same. It's hard to base on weight.
Sure.
So start as low as you possibly can.
This is not medical advice. These are just possibilities, okay? So it needs to be said. Everybody's going to be different, and you're going to need to talk to a professional about the situation, particularly if they're a young person, because as a parent, you feel that you're in charge of that, right? I mean, it's not like if I have a condition, I'm going to try to titrate for myself. That's on me, right? So
Absolutely.
That's not so bad. I mean, Heidi, how have you dealt with that in the past? Did that cause you anxiety going through all that, or?
Yeah. In the very beginning, obviously, I couldn't talk to our doctors. I couldn't share anything because we had to be criminals in the very beginning. And so we felt very scared and isolated as if we had to handle everything on our own. Zayden started our current medicine. He's on a 28-to-1 CBD to THC. And then he uses pure THC orally for seizures, as well as THC nasal spray for seizures. And then he takes the CBG. So we've had to add in different things, and with last few years we've been able to communicate with our neurologist about it. I highly, highly recommend Cardinal Glennon. They are a wonderful facility. They are running CBD programs. They are doing their very best to be as educated as possible to help children the right way. And we have a wonderful neurologist named Dr. Gretzky who is really stepping up to be that rock for parents so they have somebody to talk to, because most facilities, the doctors aren't able to because of their rules and guidelines.
Amazing. What was that name again?
Dr. Gretzky at Cardinal Glennon in St. Louis. He's worth the drive, I promise, and he'll help every step of the way.
That's good.
And he'll be blunt. So, he'll be very blunt. If he doesn't think your kiddo would truly benefit from cannabis, then he will tell you that. From THC side, that side of the cannabis.
Sure. So Leigh, what are the options if a parent wants to, pursue this? Is there certain professionals, or even, let's name drop if you want. Who should the parents and the minors see to get this sort of recommendation and care?
For dosing cannabis? So dosing cannabis is really hard. There are a few physicians that have been doing it for a long time. Dr. Solak of the Hilo program has been doing it for a really long time, and he has general guidelines that are recommended. There are also some doctors and pharmacists in the Missouri industry that have taken the initiative to do their own studying. I know Dr. Rourke has done a lot of education herself. There are the pharmacist that's working with me has done tons of education and can help. You can't really, there is no prescribing cannabis, so you can't really dose a patient. It's working with them and guiding them on dosing and figuring out what works best for them and keeping a journal, a patient journal.
Tell me more. What's that look like? What kind
patient journal?
What kind of things am I writing down and keeping track
So
of?
actually, April Hatch, who is on the board with us for the, which we'll
Just
talk
last
about
month?
in a little bit. Yep, she was here last month. She has these great patient journals. I actually got a whole bag of them out in my car. So anyone that sees me will get one of these too. And then I know that she's handing them out at quite a bit of different places too. So they're great to keep track of. I don't know if you can open it up and show, but it's wonderful to.
It's been in my bag for a little bit.
It's okay. And just keeping track of what your mood is. So you literally will write down the product, where you got it from, lab testing, maybe what terpene profiles are in it, and then you do a prior inventory of how you feel before you consume, and then an after inventory. So.
And that's even something that you could take back to your healthcare professional as well, right?
Absolutely, and show them, hey, well, this really took my pain from a 10 to a 2.
Right.
So let's figure out what was in this that really helped. Was it myrcene, or was it beta-caryophyllene? Or
Cool. And did you do something like this, Heidi, as well, with Zayden early on?
Yes. In the very beginning, we documented everything. I still have the first box as medicine came in, and we've kept it all. It's kind of our souvenirs now.
Awesome. I think that's a good idea. Thank goodness we can write this down now. It was only a few years ago.
There are apps too,
anything
tracking
related.
apps. Everyone likes to be on their phones. It's easy.
Name drop one. Do you have one you like, or?
I will send it out.
Okay.
To Clay to send out an email mass. Does that work? Perfect.
Awesome.
I knew I forgot something.
Yeah, well, it's all right. And you've brought a lot of information here. Is this all information that folks can get to online as well, or?
Yes. So I will be writing a follow-up blog post on kids and cannabis, how you can get your card in Missouri. If you're wanting to work with someone like me, I will also put into that some cannabis-friendly physicians that parents could go to as well. And then the main drug interactions and stuff that they'd want to talk to their doctors about. And then I can also put in there how to talk to your physician about cannabis.
That's awesome. So we'll keep a lookout on that. Is there anything else here that you really wanted to touch on for, parents, prospective parents with minor patients?
Yeah, there's a lot of misconception about cannabis and the developing brain. There is not enough studies to prove that it affects the developing brain. There are studies, however, to show that CBD is a neuroprotectant for your brain. So newer studies are showing that any effects that could be done by THC can be counteracted by adding in CBD.
I see.
So don't be scared about what you've seen in the media or the news about that your child may not develop properly.
Yeah, that's true. And you know, I have to comment because I've done an extensive amount of reading myself. Not a professional, but the United States government has spent billions of dollars trying to prove how terrible this thing is.
You know who?
Billions. Now they spent all that money. How much proof did all that research come out with that this is the devil's lettuce?
None. They're trying to hide it from us.
So anyway,
Well, sickness is the biggest moneymaker.
A patient cured is a customer lost.
Exactly. That is exactly
That's it.
right.
That's it.
I
Now,
mean, just alone, Zayden's diastat. He would, with us giving him 60 milligrams of diastat, which is a form of Valium, our insurance was paying $750 every 5 to 7 days for that medicine, and Zayden's not needed it in 6 years. So that was, I mean, just for one child, that was a huge loss for that company.
Yep.
Cures cost money.
That's right. That's a lot of trips. I know those trips are not cheap at all.
I'll never forget when I got off all 5 of my pharmaceuticals, how many messages I had from CVS in my voicemail. It's time to refill your medication. It's time to I'm like, nope, I don't need it anymore. I don't need it anymore. I don't need it anymore. I don't need it anymore.
Come
right?
in. That's right. Hey, I do see a question I want to acknowledge about cannabis during pregnancy. I'll just say right up, as far as I've ever seen, there's not
enough studies to say anything.
We don't know. Even the leaders in Israel and Spain and Italy, we don't know.
There's not enough women to say, hey, study me. While I'm pregnant, I'm consuming cannabis. There is, however, tons of anecdotal evidence of women using cannabis in pregnancy for nausea, as well as anxiety and sleep. And again, I'm not recommending this. I'm not saying this. It is a plant over a chemical. You choose what you want to put in your body.
Right. Choice.
And that's how I leave it at.
Choice. At this point.
But for me, I don't even think that is a choice, only because the fear pregnant women would have to live with if they test dirty, do they lose their baby? There's just still so much stigma that doesn't allow us to truly choose what path we want. Just as if when we decided we wanted to start Zayden on cannabis 6 years ago, we didn't have, a safe choice. We had to do what we had to do it legally. And that's a protection that needs to be put into place. OBGYN should feel comfortable and confident to be able to discuss cannabis as options with their patients. And that's not where we're at yet, but I have my fingers crossed. A lot of pharmaceuticals can be damaging. And if you've got somebody who suffers from such severe nausea that they can't eat and can't move, which is a real thing, for me, I would prefer plant over pharmaceutical. But the risk there for the legality side still isn't in our favor.
Have a home birth.
Yeah, well,
right.
I mean, if oxycodone's or OxyContin or hydrocodone, they were given to my wife during her pregnancy, and
right.
I hope somebody does studies, because I think it might have been better if she'd have taken the route that she takes now. So, but anyway, look, tell me, Leigh, a little bit about what kind of education, what kind of background do you have to get here and to be able to give this kind of advice and help people?
So I have a bachelor's in science of nursing. I'm a registered nurse, and I have taken over now 60 continuing education hours in cannabis nursing alone. I continually stay up to date in education. Anyone that is a registered nurse or has their bachelor's degree could go about and become educated and do such as I am.
Very nice.
Yep.
Very nice. What else? I mean, are there other things we need to share here? Anything you want to call out in particular?
If there's any other high-level things.
If not, that's okay. Now, tell me, Heidi.
The best terpene profiles for autism would be a myrcene and lanolin for increased to decrease anxiety. It's calming and neuroprotective.
Okay. And that was which ones again?
Myrcene and lanolin.
Okay. And so myrcene is one of the most common.
Yep.
So this is good news. Most of what you're going to have is going to have it in it. So does beer, but not recommended. And then linalool is, that's what's in lavender.
Yep.
So any kind of, lavender is often promoted as for aromatherapy purposes, being calming. It's the same thing. That's the same action that occurs in cannabis, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yep, I like it. And now where do you, if you need a reference for terpenes and what they do, where do you go? Is there a site? Are there books? I mean...
Trichome Institute, so I have his book. I also use Leafy, has a great resource on their website.
Very good, very good. I like both of those. And now, Heidi, you don't have a dispensary do you go to? Do you guys cultivate? Can we talk about that?
So I am a cultivator, yes.
Very cool. Very cool.
So.
Is it? I love it. I love it. That's what it's about.
Growing your own medicine. How rewarding is that, though?
Yeah.
That's
to get
it.
to see it from
wonderful.
the start to consuming it.
Was that fairly recent for you?
So I'm actually on my third crop, so I've been cultivating since the day I got my card. I just don't talk about it a lot, but Alien Rift is my best friend. Got my first seeds from Ricky Starling.
Nice.
Huge shout outs for that. Yes, it was the best thing that's helped me with my body pain as well as my seizures. I'm really grateful for it. And I love to grow. It's such a peaceful thing. And we have some big part coming up for Zayden's coalition that has to do with that. So stay tuned for that announcement.
Good. I want to be a part of that. That's one of my favorite parts. Can't help it. I love it.
Well, good. I'd love to have you over. We'll have you get your advice and stuff on. We're setting up something pretty big to help more patients. So
I love it. All right. Well, so last thing, let's tell about the gear we've got here.
Hang on, real quick before we go into the gear mode. I wanted to, before we switch subjects entirely, I wanted to just so one of the things that we found that was kind of a problem with the current Missouri legislation is that in order to be a caregiver for a minor, you have to be a patient or guardian, right? So
you have to be their legal guardian. Yeah.
Exactly. So what the problem with that is that if you are, if you're divorced, let's say, and your other parent has the kids, that parent cannot administer the medication under the current rules with where we're at now, right?
Correct.
And then,
as well as if they live in a place, like for instance, if I lived in an apartment and I couldn't grow my own medicine, I could hire a caregiver or, to do so in their own space. But a parent can't do that. They have to grow the medicine themselves for their own child. And not all parents have that option or the knowledge to do so.
Exactly. So that's a big issue that I hope that we can all come together on and really, because we met the Araya family. They have a 4-year-old with epilepsy, and neither one of them know how to grow. They don't have the time. They're taking care of 2 kids, one that has disabilities. So the amount of extra work that it takes having a child with disabilities really takes away from your time that you could have in the garden making the medicine for your own kid. But right now the laws say that you have to do it yourself. So that's a big challenge that we have to really come together to fight right now, that we have to change that, because it doesn't make any sense, especially now that there's not any dispensaries that are open, so I just wanted to give my little 2 cents there, but I know, I don't know how you do it, Heidi. I have no idea how you do what you do. You take care of the big family. You grow the medicine for them. You're a trooper. Wow.
That's right. That's right. And
I just run circles all the time. That's it.
That's right. And hats off to any mothers and fathers who are in this sort of predicament. I mean, I think it's huge. I will say too that any legislation that we get behind needs to speak to some degree to parental rights generally, to situations like this that it makes it's an undue burden, right? We're all about there shouldn't be undue burdens in our processes. This is an undue burden for parents, and it needs to get taken care of.
Yeah. So cool. Well,
now,
you're awesome,
I do
Heidi.
agree
Let's check out these. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Heidi. Zoom.
No, I was gonna say, I do agree with only a parent or legal guardian being able to administer the medicine. I do think that's important. But that doesn't mean another parent shouldn't be able to do it as well. Both parents should have the option, as well as they should have the option to hire an outside caregiver to grow. So there's different aspects that need to change with the law.
Multiple levels.
Let's do it. Let's make it happen.
Yeah, love it. Multiple levels that they haven't thought about, that people like Heidi and Leigh and Eric and us at the Evolution Magazine, hopefully we can all come together with other parents like you guys.
Right.
And
it takes a village to raise our kids, so why are we limited to 2 caregivers? That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Just straight away, right off the top. But
Agreed.
Anyway.
No,
Take us
minors
home.
are only limited to 1.
Oof.
Say that one more time.
Minors get 1, not 2.
Yeah, exactly.
I said minors only get 1 caregiver.
Good
And I
point.
would
Not
say
even
there's
2.
just as many families that have parents that are divorced as families that have parents together, and even less parents that know how to grow their own medicine, right? So,
Love it.
Yes, and if I'm alone with Zayden, Kyle can't take him anywhere with his emergency medicine legally. That's silly that my husband can't be alone with our son and give him his medicine if I'm not home, because it's just supposed to be me.
Yeah,
that's not right.
That's not right. We got to fix. We're going to work together, get some work done though, right?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So
I'm totally open. Let's do it.
Let's do it. If people want to get a hold of Zayden's Coalition, where do they go? Who do they email?
Yes. So Aiden's Alliance at gmail.com or Zayden's Coalition at gmail.com, or they can visit aidensalliance.org, and we'll all one big happy family would love to help.
I love it. Thank you, Heidi.
Awesome.
Leigh?
Yeah.
How can we get a hold of you?
Leigh at hariomconsulting.com, and it's Leigh.
Very nice, very nice. And Leigh's been so helpful in helping us put together our caregiver program. So much thanks for that. Hopefully we can come back on and talk about that more in the future.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love it. Tonight's a big, stay tuned now. Coming back after break, we're going to give away some more stuff. Be sure to tag some folks. Heidi, you want to say something on the way out?
Well, in regards to our green gear bags, let me know if you have any questions. It's our fundraiser for Aiden's Alliance. You can donate either $25 or $40, pay for a monthly subscription. We send out awesome merchandise from wonderful different sponsors, everything from CBD flower to cones to shirts, all different stuff. Everything is Farm Bill compliant. So we're obeying all laws there. All money goes directly back to help patients, and we are giving a 1 month away of that, 1 month free away today.
Love it. Clay, take us home.
Cool. One more time, put your hands together for our guests here, Heidi, Leigh, Eric. We got some great prizes here from Hemp, from Zayden's Coalition. Also, I don't know if I mentioned this earlier, but we're also giving away 2 free $50 off a MCI patient caregiver certification tonight. So tag as many friends as you would like to get entered in all of that. We're going to take a little break here. We're going to go check out what's going on with the Cannon Convict Project live from the steps at Jefferson City here shortly. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Stick around till we get back. When we get back, we're going to talk more about how you can be growing on a budget at home, how you can get it going with as cheap as possible. I mean, budget's a very restrictive thing for most people right now with COVID and all of that. So, being able to grow at home on a very tight budget is the next topic. Stay tuned. Let's check in with what's going on with the Cannon Convict Project.
Hey guys, hope you guys are enjoying the show. We're here with the board of the Cannon Convict Project. We're at the federal courthouse in Jefferson City, Missouri. We're here for the case of Zachary Nutt, and we'll let these guys tell you a little bit about what happened today.
So today we came to give testimony for Zachary's, hopefully to compel the judge to give him a reduced sentence. We brought 3 individuals from the board, Tim, Joni, and Jeff. Unfortunately, the judge only allowed one of our board, Joni, to testify and then cut that short and didn't give Jeff or Tim an opportunity. In the end, he was sentenced to 72 months in prison. They were originally asking for 120 months, so there was a little bit of a win there. But I'm going to turn it over to Joni so she can let you all know a little bit about what she testified to.
Hey guys, so I was lucky enough to be the only witness to talk to the courtroom today and the judge. I tried to relate it to the specifics of the charges, but I think, everything that I said certainly was relevant. I wanted to point out that part of the goal and role of the judicial system is to consider the crime, the conduct in relation to the concern for risk of violence, impact on the public, and with the ever-changing, rapidly changing laws on marijuana in our country, in our state, I feel it was perfectly relevant for the court to consider those societal changes as other courts in our country are doing. There was a federal judge in New York that in 2018 released an inmate early because his only charges were marijuana related, and specifically noted part of the reason was because of the societal view changing and recognizing that the center of the charges, the substance, the marijuana, the plant, now has recognized medical benefits. And that is something that certainly can't be denied. There was no violence or asserted that I'm aware of in relation to Zachary's case. And the sentence needs to be relevant and to the conduct and society's views in relation to that charge and the fact that it's centered around marijuana. And then because we have a divide now and it's socially unjust, we have a divide where part of the population can legally possess, use, transport, grow perfectly legally. Then we have the other side of the population that is being charged, put in jail, to have their lives ripped apart for the same conduct. And we need to eliminate this societal divide. And I think the fact that we all showed up, even though we didn't all get to speak on Zach's behalf, it made it a statement. We're learning, this is new, and we'll take this experience with us and try to tailor what we do in a more perhaps a specific way that might be more conducive to what a judge is open to hearing at the next time. So I think it was good that we were here, and we just need to keep showing up.
Tim had some really great points to make that we were really disappointed weren't able to be heard. Do you want to share that with everyone?
Yeah, definitely. As I look into the sun here, it's kind of like looking into the future, I guess, and that's what we're doing here today. Today wasn't a loss at all. The fact that we showed up here, the fact that the court was able to see a group of people that are professionals in here, the fact that Joni got to go up there and do a great job, phenomenal job talking about the change that we're having all across America. I didn't get the opportunity to go up and testify as I prepared. I was going to talk about 18 U.S. Code 3553. That basically talks about federal guidelines on how long a person should be in prison based on a number of factors, and we won't get into that here. But basically, when we look at charges like marijuana, we know that the overwhelming amount of people have approved that. We recognize that not only do we have medicinal purposes, states have adopted it recreationally. The harms that we've been taught about it, we're learning those aren't quite true. We continue to adapt science, society, everything we do, and the law hasn't caught up with that yet. The voters have overwhelmingly went in Missouri, and again, we said that we agree this should be legal here. And as we've seen today, the court's not quite caught up to that fact. They talk about it being a gateway drug, about how it impacts the community. And, it's really not the drug that's impacting the community. It is the fact that it's prohibited. The prohibition is causing more of a problem than the drug itself. The fact that we've created this market, the fact that it is a pharmaceutical market, and we know how pharmaceutical companies profit off people, it leads the way for other people to come in and try and deliver a product that the people want, and the court can't recognize the fact that we've adopted that people want it, and until we catch up through, who we vote for, who we legislate in, who legislates in for us anyway, we're going to be behind. We need to show up and come out and show support and just keep moving forward.
That's right. Over half the country has shown the courts and shown the government that we support legal cannabis. We want medical cannabis. We want legal cannabis. We see opioid deaths dropping across in states that have legalized. We see crime rates drop in states that have legalized. There's just so many reasons why we need to legalize this. And Jeff knows all too well. He was sentenced to life in prison because of a cannabis charge. He spent 22 years of his life before his sentence was commuted. Jeff, what do you think about what happened here today?
Well, I think it sucks. To be right honest with you. And as I stand here, I look across the street. Right there's penitentiary I was stuck in. I was there almost 18 years out of the 22. And bringing back a lot of memories. But what I remember is how bad it was in there and how bad it was in my family. Even though I went through a lot of trials and tribulations while I was in, my family did too. So anybody that goes to prison on nonviolent crimes, their families are suffering as much as they are in a lot of cases. And we got to think about that, because that's something that we have to change. We can keep coming to these courtrooms and keep talking and telling them how it's supposed to be and how it should be. And guess what? They know it. They don't know it. The problem is, the law's got to change. And we got to do it. But beyond that, we've got medical cannabis here in Missouri. And yes, I know it was illegal back then. It was illegal when I was messing with it years ago. But veterans needed it. We got 22 veterans a day dying, so they say. And I believe there's a lot more than 22. But how many lives has cannabis saved? Probably up to 50 or 60 if it wasn't for cannabis, because a lot of veterans are using it to save their lives. But it's not just veterans, it's everybody. And whether they're using it medically or recreational, so they call it recreational. And like I stated before, even recreational is medical, because cannabis helps in all aspects. And one of them is to calm us down, keep anxiety down, things like that. And we've got a lot of people dying because they can't relax at night. They can go get a drink, maybe drink a glass of wine, but in a lot of cases they can't smoke a joint or oil or any other way they choose to use it. Why? That's the only so-called drug that doesn't hurt anybody, except for the prohibition side. It hurts everybody, unfortunately. And when I say everybody, that means you too, because you're paying the taxes. You're paying to keep everybody in prison. We all are. It's unfortunate, and it's a big expense we don't need. We have to put people in prisons. We need them. We got some bad people that will kill, that will rape, that will hurt others. Granted, we need that. But the person that's messing with a little bit of marijuana have to go in for 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, whatever. Look at the harm that they're doing there. Look what they're being taught while they're in prisons. Doesn't make any sense, because they're not just going to come out, in all the cases, they're not just going to come out and get back smoking a little bit of marijuana or cannabis, or even sell a little bit here and there. They're going to have the knowledge and the guts to go ahead and do things to people that we don't want done. So how do we stop that? Damn it, let's just stop putting them in there. So we got to change the laws.
What did you think about when the prosecutor was talking about Zachary Nutt putting all these dangerous drugs back on the streets, in Sedalia and Columbia, and all the different towns around Missouri by providing this, what we know is to be medicine, but he was talking about it as it was some dangerous, narcotic that was absolutely going to kill people.
I actually thought he was talking about opiates or methamphetamine.
Well, that's what he should have been talking about.
Because that's where our problem is. You go up and down the streets, anywhere at night, anywhere in this country. I've been all over. And you see these people all walking around, and you know what? Most of them ain't in their right minds. Because they're on methamphetamine, in some cases, opiates. Those are the people that need help. And prison's not the answer for them neither. Actually, some true help. Take them someplace and help them and teach them, show them. That's what we need to do. Keep them out of these prisons, because prison ain't the right place to learn anything. Not anything of substance for us or for the people out here. What you're going to learn in there is how to kill, how to hurt, how to steal. That's what you can learn in prison. You ain't going to learn how to be kind to one another, to help one another, to love one another like we should be doing as human beings. That's the things we really need to work on.
Absolutely.
We also want to say a special thank you to his attorney, Zach's attorney, Kevin O'Brien. He's been working on Zach's behalf for several years now. He's done the best he could have done. We were happy to collaborate with him and come and show our support as best as we can. The road is long and we've got a lot to do, guys, so we still have to stick together. We can't have all this infighting that we've seen in the community lately. So please be nice, be kind, say nice things to each other. We've got to stick with one another. There's a lot to do. So stay tuned for the rest of the show. Stay tuned for what we've got coming up next. We've always got something up our sleeves. So we'll talk to you next week, guys.
Green Gene Terpene here backstage at the Cannabis Bowl Nationals, the Auto Grow-a-thon, a 4-state competition pitting grower against grower, where they all grow the magic melon auto flower from Humboldt seeds. Tonight, I'm joined by the Missouri Madman. What brings you into this competition, sir?
Well, I'm going to tell you one thing, Green Gene. 25 large. And I'm going to be in charge when I put my stamp on the rest of the competition.
Well, Missouri's the newest one to a legal cannabis market here. The other states have a bit of a head start. What do you think about some of the competition in the new burgeoning market in Oklahoma?
Oh, Oklahoma. Oklahoma is the place where I stop to take dumps on my way to Texas to find an actual pretty little gal.
What? Doesn't seem like you're trying to make any friends in Oklahoma. Colorado's got a real head start on everybody. They've been having the longest recreational market in the whole game. You got to think the competition's pretty stiff out there. What do you have to say about them?
Oh, you didn't hear? Green Gene, you didn't hear? Did you hear?
No, I didn't.
Oh, well, they can't even grow cannabis out in Colorado anymore.
Why?
Because John Elway's teeth got in the way of the sun's rays, and all their plants died from calcium and magnesium deficiencies.
That seems like a weird thing for it to not have light or calcium and magnesium. All right, California. That's where they've been doing it the longest. People say that the favorites might even be in California. What do you have to say about the California competition, sir?
Oh, in California. Let me do an impersonation of someone in California. I'm leaving. Get me out of here. I'm soft. I'm leaving because I'm scared. They're scared that the state's going to break off into the Pacific Ocean and float away. Bye-bye, California, and you can't even find a good nug anywhere on the island.
Well, folks, there you have it. The Missouri Madman means business. We're going to kick this thing back to you, Bill.
Hey, give me that microphone, and let me tell you a little secret about my life. I was born in the Fertile Crescent, where the Missouri River comes right up on the Mississippi. And it should be called the Missouri River because it's longer when they meet. I was born in the nutrients. I got all the newts. You want nitrogen? I pulled it from the air, and I'm gonna put it down into God's green earth, and I'm gonna grow the best magic melon the world's ever seen.
There you have it. The madman means business. We're going to kick this back to you, Bill.
Hey everybody, Big V here coming to you from Kansas City, and there's so many exciting things going on here since we've been given the freedom to use medical cannabis. And one of the things that we've been given the freedom to do is to grow our own cannabis. And so there's a lot of people out there right now, maybe you're one of them, who's thinking about growing their own medication so they're not spending the high prices that it costs to get it from the dispensary or wherever they're going to get it from. And that's where I come in. I'm going to teach you from start to finish how to grow your own medication, what equipment you need, get you set up and work with you to customize a program that fits your particular situation. Most of my clients that come to me, they're new, they've never grown at all, and they have absolutely no idea where to start. And so I'm going to walk you through and help you understand the laws. I'm going to help you understand how to stay compliant and teach you how to do all the little things that you need to know to be successful from here on out. So if you're struggling, maybe you've been out there looking through the internet trying to find the answers and you just can't get them all together in one place, get a hold of me, KC Grow Coach, www.kcgrowcoach.com, and I can definitely help you get to where you want to go and accomplish your goals as far as cultivating your own medication.
Previously on the Evolution Magazine's Home Grow series.
We're here at Happy Rock Farms shooting live on Main Street in Kansas City, and tonight we have the largest studio audience here that we've ever had before. Can I get a little applause from the audience out there?
You just shake it out, and then you take it using your Happy Rock Farms business card.
Wow, they're looking great. The next day they're looking not so great. You're going, we haven't been spending enough quality time together, have we, dear?
When you go to actually extract the trichomes off the plant, you're going to use a specific micron screen, and that screen is going to allow the best and the most sought after trichome off the plant.
And I'm going to sign it live for all of you. I'll lean down the computer. I'll make sure I'm stuck. Like, this is the type of signing statement we need more of, all right?
What you're going to want to get is obviously some plant material. Industrial hemp is what we have here.
That's going to be like 5 plants in one seed, I'm pretty sure.
That's how easy it is to make tea.
Hold on a second. Okay, I'm getting excited. Rally towel, rally towel.
I'll bring your game.
Bring your game, because we got the A++ game here in Kansas City, so.
Hey everybody, welcome back to us. Glad to be back. We're going to talk about growing on the second half of this show.
Subject.
Is it? Do you like to grow a little bit?
I love it.
That's right. I don't care if it's a little grow, a big grow. We got all kinds of growing going on. We also, this is our grand opening. This is the first official day that our certified caregiver program through MCIA is open and ready and raring. Level Up AV, James Thomas is going to throw up a link here, momcia.org/caregiver. That's where you go get information about that. We're going to leave that up there during the show. This is important. This is going to give patients the confidence they need to link up with a caregiver. It's going to get caregivers, people who are growing now, who they're probably just a little bit afraid of getting into that situation because they don't know what to expect.
Right.
Well, you're going to be taking the test as soon as I am. You're going to help people if they need advice, right?
Absolutely, and that's one of the things that I felt when you said, a lot of the people who are wanting to become caregivers are actually nervous about becoming caregivers, and I believe that this is going to give them the confidence that they need to go ahead and step out and take that plunge, or even if they're already caregiving for one patient, maybe two, it's still going to give them the confidence that they need to show them that they really do know what they're doing and that they really do have a good grasp on being a caregiver.
Yep. And even though I'm full of patients right now, I don't need to be certified. I'm doing fine. I think they're long-term patients, but I want to document my experience in the industry. I want a good reason to hang out with cool people like Big V, the KC Grow coach here, right? Sometimes I close the one ear, but that's fine. That's fine. It happens all the time. So come on over. We want to see it. We're also giving away 2 $50 certificates. This is $50 off the certification fees. Okay, so that's up to 50% depending on whether you're going for the foundational or the advanced. We have a distinguished level that'll be open here in a year. Takes a little effort to get there. You have to actually be certified and do some give back for a year, but I think that's a good opportunity. Before we get into it, and again, tag a friend, bring them into this portion of the show. We'll get you entered. Be sure to mention it if that's what you're into. We'll get you those certificates. Clay's going to do that drawing later. Let me know. I've already awarded several of these, and it's getting good reception. What do you think? Is the test a little bit challenging? I mean,
well, yeah. I mean, depending on the level of your understanding, I think if you go through the guide and you pay attention to what you're reading and hearing through the study guide and everything, I think probably the majority of people that pay good attention to the guide are going to do pretty good on the test.
Yep.
We're not out there trying to flunk anybody, so we want everybody to pass. We want everybody to grow from this experience, and so we've given all the tools necessary for you to be successful.
Got to succeed, and part of our philosophy too was not, it's an open internet test, okay? And I don't mean to diminish the test itself, but we're less concerned about memorizing all those answers and more concerned that you can go find the answers.
Right, your ability to.
Whether that's YouTube or Leafly or overgrow.com or Vern McClanahan, Big V, wherever your source is, right?
Everybody knows what my messenger handle is.
That's right. That's right. No, I love it. I love it. So get out there. We have some educators that are coming on board too. We're going to make that information available to folks as they get their classes lined up to teach folks how to be caregivers, how to cultivate that sort of thing. And also we're interested in gathering places, meeting places. I was at an event just a couple weeks ago where the intent was to link up caregivers and patients, and we love that sort of thing.
That was actually a great event.
You were
I just
there.
want to give them a shout out. The Canna Events by Leo, they put on the event. They're in Independence, and they did a great job. It was professional, very tight little.
It was good. It was called.
Yeah, I liked it. I was impressed, and I'm looking forward to more of their events.
Yeah,
so.
I'm going to be there. They're also an MCIA member. Just saying. We're trying to bring it to you. Yeah. Now, in that same vein, though, there's some online folks who are doing the same thing, and I'd like to hear from anybody who's put together that kind of forum, whether it be a Facebook group, whatever. Hit us out here in the comments. That's fine. I do want to give out to pay close attention, right? Here's a giveaway. SafeCannahaven.com. SafeCannahaven.com. I think they put together a nifty site. I'm a member. It's not free, and one of the reasons is because they thoroughly vet everyone who becomes a member of that site. You have to be a legal caregiver and show proof, and you have to be a legal patient and show proof. No tomfoolery. There's nothing shady going on. It's just a clean, clear-cut environment to meet other patients. Now, DJ, good man over there running SafeCannahaven.com, he's giving away a promotional code that's going to give you half off. Okay, so instead of $30 or $29 and change, it's going to be just under $15. That promotion code is HomeGrow2020, and it's only available to the first 100 folks who come on over. Okay, so write that down, HomeGrow2020, and get over there, check them out. I like it. you know, it's a building community. It's a new community. Their price is probably going to go up in the future as they develop more people. This would be a good time to get in the mix.
What's the meat of the community? What exactly do I get when I go there? What's my purpose for wanting to be a part of it?
Yeah, so imagine most people have seen forums, right? Like THC Farmers a forum, or all those sorts of places.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah, well, this one's behind a login, so it's members only area, and it's gonna, the purpose here is for caregivers to make themselves available to help other caregivers, because we talk about cultivation over there. We can talk about best practices and how to be a caregiver, that sort of thing. We can talk about, caregivers can ask, hey, I've got an opening. Do we have any patients here in the KC area? Blah, blah, blah. And we can start some private messaging. And on a patient side, of course, that means you get access to these caregivers. You can get in front of them, you can message them, and you can feel confident. This is what I like most about the site, that it's legitimate. And this isn't some sort of gray thing, black thing.
Right.
I'm going to get in trouble for it.
And it's in forum format, like THC Farmer or any of those would be.
Yeah, kind of
so
discussion.
You can keep journals and you can go back through. A lot easier than Facebook to navigate then.
Sure, I like it. Great conversation with DJ.
Yep, awesome.
Maybe we'll bring him on here soon. Now, be sure to ask us questions as we go through. What I kind of want to break into tonight is growing on a budget, right? I don't think this has been addressed directly before, but
a little bit, but not a lot.
Whenever I first got into it, I think my whole first spend was like $80 for my first grow. So, I mean, let's talk about that. I mean, what do you think? How could you make that happen, just offhand? So what's a scenario?
Well, I mean, I guess there are a lot of ways that you can save a lot of money. So, I mean, there's Facebook groups where you can go on that have actually trades where you can trade one piece of equipment for another piece of equipment, or there are people donating or selling for very cheap. I know there's a group, and I can't even remember the name of it right now, but it's specifically for going on and selling your used grow equipment. We've got a table here at Happy Rock Farms. So just look for used equipment. I started out with some lights that I acquired through a clean out of a greenhouse that we were doing on a property, and didn't even really know what they were till I started looking at them and figured out what they were. And so I didn't have any money other than bulbs and a little room that the good people down at Green Circle Garden Center in Merriam, Kansas, or no, Shawnee, it's not there anymore, but
Overland Park.
Yeah, Overland Park. Thank you. My memory doesn't serve me well.
Pothole.
Anyway, I think I probably had, I don't know, 100 maybe, about where you were at into my first grow. It can be done. It's getting harder these days to do, and I think the biggest thing that you have to battle with is when you go online and you see everybody on there growing and you feel like you have to have everything that they have to grow. Really, all you need is a fan, a decent light, and a corner in the room, and you can grow a plant. You can grow your own medication. You don't have to spend a lot of money to do it.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Mo Canna Trade Buy and Sell, the Facebook group.
I believe so. Yes, sir.
Can you say that?
Mo Canna Trade Buy and Sell on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Yep, that's handy.
Maybe share the link in the comments or something, somebody, so that people can find the group. I don't know if it's a private group or a public group. So
right.
But I mean, you can definitely start on a shoestring budget, and you just have to make sure that your expectations meet your ability. So if all you can afford is a $150 LED little Mars Hydro like what we have here, and you have a corner in your room, and you might be able to afford a carbon scrubber, I'd recommend it so that everybody in your neighborhood doesn't smell your plant when it gets into bloom. But
sharing's caring.
You know, of course, yeah. Stealing is feeling, I guess, you know.
Okay.
So,
yeah, true.
You know, you got strangers coming through your window in the middle of the night. You'll wish you'd spent that $85 on that fan and carbon filter.
My bad.
But anyway, you know, so you can get a decent little harvest on 1 or 2 plants under a small light on a budget, a few $100. You really don't need that much.
Yeah, and especially if you're low needs, you know, if you don't need big quantities of flower,
right.
then it really doesn't take that much. Now, let me address a question. We're going to sidestep a little bit here and there. Don't let that break up your mojo. But question came in on how we become a caregiver. Now, first, I want to make it extremely clear that all you need to become a caregiver is to get permitted by the state and to have an arrangement with the patient. And that's all outlined in the processes, okay? That's all you really need to become a caregiver. Legally.
Yes.
Now, what we're talking about tonight is a certified caregiver program. You want to think about that more as a professional certification, right? Because you're going to demonstrate some serious knowledge here. And you could probably reflect that in the service fees that you use as a caregiver. So for us, it's a matter of taking, for the foundational caregiver, it's a matter of taking 2 exams, $55 for both of them, and then $99 to become a foundational certified caregiver. That's our beginning level. You can skip right to advanced you want. More costs in that case, but you could skip right there. I know a lot of folks who can walk right in the door, pass all those tests. A lot of you already know all that, and you're thinking, well, what's this do for me? Well, if you already know all this and you can walk in and pass the tests, we need you. We need you to help bring up other caregivers.
Right.
Okay?
Become a mentor.
Then we can help more people.
Right.
Okay,
and
guys?
that's what this is all about, is getting everybody involved on a ground floor level. Getting people growing their own cannabis, getting people having caregivers and becoming caregivers, and growing their medication for them. That's what it's all about. That's where you're going to get your best medication is on a ground floor level.
Yep, for sure. And so tonight, again, the topic is on a budget. So I think if you're on a budget, first thing you need to do before you spend a dime, don't spend any money yet. You need to figure out a few things, basically. One, where are you going to put it?
Right.
I think you can probably do it in as little as a 2x2 space, about the size of this Happy Rock Farms logo. Love these guys. You could get, you know, a little plan in here, okay? Just a corner of a room, maybe a hall closet. Gotta have a lock on it. But you could do it in a hall closet.
I've grown under staircase in the basement.
What? Yep.
Workbenches.
Workbenches.
Workbench. Yeah, I mean, I've seen.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. Okay. You know, I've seen some really cool things over the months. I've seen people who grow in little mini fridges, and they gut them, and they put a little light up top, and a little light on the bottom, and they use the bottom for flowering, and they do a scrog where they train one little plant and get a half a pound in a little mini dorm fridge, and then up top they keep cuttings. And I've seen some pretty cool stuff, so you can do a lot in a little space. And you know, I had underneath the stairs at one point in time where that's the only space that was available, and boxed it in. You know, it worked out great. I had plenty of space to grow 4 small plants under probably what I would consider the TS 3000 or maybe a TS 2000 Mars Hydro light that we have out here. And, you know, I got some really nice finished medication off of that in just that small area, and it was plenty to keep me full of my jars were never empty. So you don't have to have a lot of space.
Yep, I agree. My first one was just a set of fluorescent shop lights.
Yeah.
I mean, super basic.
T5s.
You can literally use the old shop light out of your shop, rust on it and the whole thing. I mean, you know, clean it up a little bit. And go ahead and
rattle can on.
Yeah, go ahead and get you some new bulbs. The bulbs are going to matter. They do age a little bit, but Get some new bulbs for that bad
Do we
boy.
want to get the Otts plant bulbs?
I don't know, man. What do you think? I mean,
They sell those at Home Depot.
I think you just go for some cool white and you're good.
One warm and one cool white.
One warm and one cool?
I'm natural daylight all the way.
Natural
5,500 K, baby.
Okay.
Straight out.
Okay, that's okay.
Flower and bloom.
That's okay.
Bloom or veg and bloom.
Yeah, we could dig in. What's 550 anyway? We'll get into these more advanced topics as we go along. The cheapest grow I know of is outdoor, but we're going to save that for next spring because this is the wrong season.
What do you consider
We're done.
cheap?
We're done. I mean, a seed that a friend gifted you and an outdoor, maybe you've got some good garden soil anyway. I mean, you could do it for nothing, but not this time of year. The good news is that because it's cooling off outside, your indoor temperatures are going to be lower naturally.
Yes.
And you're not going to need, because your lights, whatever you use is going to make heat. Your fans, your lights, anything uses electricity is going to make heat. And this time of year, you can get away with a little less ventilation. Okay? And so that's going to save you money. You can get away with it. It needs to be your first upgrade if you do try to get away with it.
I even know some people that will take their ventilation and plug it back into their ventilation of their house as long as they've got a really good carbon filter. And it helps to heat the house and keep the air humidified a little bit.
Yep. That's absolute truth. Especially if you got a hall closet right next to the intake for the house, central air intake.
It's perfect,
it may or may not have happened before many times.
And if you just really like everything in your house to be permeated with the smell of growing cannabis, take the carbon scrubber off and just get wild.
Let her rip.
Man.
Let her rip.
Let
her rip. Hey, now, be careful now. If you're renting, don't just go cutting holes in your walls. That's not cool. Okay, you have to get permission to do
Unless
these
you know how to do
things.
sheetrock.
But of course, I mean, it's still good to have a little permission. For sure. But,
a lot of crowd participation tonight.
More than the NFL.
It's true. It's true. Now look, so really as far as I'm concerned, you could get started with, just shop lights, some pots of dirt, whatever you grab. You get started with that. But, I think you'd want to spend just a few extra bucks, minimum of like $150. Probably get the best LED you can get for the money. That's where I'd spend almost all of my money right out of the gate is the best. Because even if you upgrade later, you're always going to use that bad boy for maybe making clones or for some of your younger plants. That light's not going to be a bad investment if you're going to spend at least a little over $100 on that LED.
Well, and I'll just say this too. When you're first starting out, you probably don't want to go out and buy the most powerful LED or HPS that you can get out there, because what you're doing is you're going to be trying to probably go a little bit too fast for what your skills will allow you, because a lot of light, that'll change the way the plant grows, and it just makes everything faster. So don't try to get the most powerful light. Try to stay within your means as far as your skill level is and growing. Try to stay within your means, because you want to stay at a level that you're going to get quality medication. If you try to get too big too fast, or just go all out and have a high powered light and all this high tech equipment, you're going to possibly get in over your head a little bit and spend a little more money than necessary for you to learn your craft. So don't despise small beginnings. You don't need to spend a lot of money to learn how to grow really good.
I agree, and in a space this big, you can. That's enough for an ounce a month.
Absolutely.
You can grow. And for a lot of people, that's all a lot of people need, especially if the relief you need mainly comes in the evenings or certain times of the day. You may not need all that much. So very viable. Now, okay, we're going to get a light. We're going to get the best light we can get for the money. We need to talk about soils. I understand Happy Rock has a selection of soils. Not sure, hydro may be an option, but remember, you're going to have buckets and air pumps.
If you're on a budget, hydroponics is not your friend.
You're going to have bottled nutrients. That's going to add up pretty quick. I think maybe one of your best bets, and again, I'm biased, I'm a living soil grower, is probably going to be to get some water-only soil, right? It's got everything built into it.
Yeah.
All you got to do is water it. It's going to be more expensive up front, but you don't need any nutrients, you don't need anything.
Well, and like the dank here, if you can afford a little extra up front, you're going to use that soil for several grows. You know, you can get at least 3 harvests out of a good soil with very little amendment and very little feeding, just a few, you know, organic teas or a little top dressing of some stuff during the way, you know, so.
Yep, and this is what that bag looks like right over here.
Here you is. Come to daddy.
Now, and that's a water only?
This is pretty well, it's going to depend on how big of a container and how big of a plant you're wanting to grow in that container. But yes, with the right size container and not trying to grow a gargantuan plant, you will definitely get all the way through your grow in this soil.
Very good. Very good. It wouldn't take much amendment. I mean, it depends on the plant.
Yeah, it depends on the plant. Some of them are really hungry, some of them aren't. This is designed to not really burn. You know, light feeding plants, but at the same time, it's going to, you know, have enough in it to feed a heavy feeder most of the way through. And at the most, you're going to get a good fade at the end. And maybe, you know, you might have to top dress if you use a small container about 4 weeks in.
Yep.
So, yeah, but it's very good soil, top of the line. Doesn't get much better than that.
I'm a big fan. It's kind of like an investment. You can use it over and over. And especially for folks on the budget, you know, keep that soil handy. It's gonna treat you well.
And if you're just on a horribly, horribly tight budget, and you just can't afford to put the money out for something like the dank, then you know there are several options out there that you can go get that are not as expensive as a living soil. But in the long run, you're going to be spending as much, if not more money than you are if you just buy the good soil up front.
Yep, yep. Because you'll end
so
up
if you can afford it,
you might have to pump and dump, you know, get rid of that, and now you're spending double what you spent the first time because you got to get new soil over and over.
A mini grow went to crap because of the soil.
Yep.
So,
and that's it. I mean,
and you get into flower, and then everything's going great, and you get about 3 or 4 weeks into flower, and everything goes into the tank, and you try to fix it, and it's too far gone by that time, you know, because a non-experienced grower doesn't catch things fast enough. And then when you're growing in soil, of course, you know, everything takes longer and you know to recover. So
yep, a little bit. I mean, it's kind of a, you know, if you do hydro the right way, you know, awesome. But make a mistake, you're going to pay. You're really going to pay. Soil's going to be a lot more forgiving. Now we got soil, we got pots. I like fabric pots. I think you can get away with a plastic pot. That's fine too. We talked about lights just a little bit. We're not going to be too specific. It's really as much as you can afford since you're on a budget. But you're also going to need some circulation in that room. So a little oscillating fan.
Yeah,
maybe,
you definitely need a nice oscillating fan.
Something to stir it up, right?
Yep. And you don't need the fan directly on the plants. You just want it to move the air. As long as the leaves are fluttering,
a little dance,
you're good.
Just a little dance.
That's what you want to see.
You don't want mosh pit.
Yeah, because all you're trying to do is renew the air around the plant, because it uses up all the CO2 right there at the canopy, and you just want to make sure that the air is moving and bringing nice fresh air to the canopy. So.
Yeah, and I think in the middle of the winter, most people can get away with just that. You know, hall closet, bedroom closet. That would work. That would work.
In my small grows, I just put a carbon scrubber. I mean, in a small grow, the light's usually not enough to really overheat the room. Especially, you know, if you've got a fairly decent amount of space. Then I just take the carbon scrubber and I turn the hose back toward the plants and just let it scrub the room, the air in the room, keep the smell down, and fan the plants at the same time if you really aren't needing to actually vent the room. If you're in a big enough area.
Yep, especially if you got small wattage lights. I mean, that's the kind of fun part about a micro grow. It doesn't take much to get that done. But, you know, beware once you start down this path, it gets a little addictive. You know, you buy that second light and all of a sudden they start, you know, breeding or something. They multiply. So be careful. That's all. Be careful. Now,
it gets a bit feverish. Yes, it does. It definitely gets a bit feverish.
It does, but that's part of the therapy, right?
That's most definitely. You know, most of us like buying new toys, so we just buy grow toys.
That's right.
We got another question here.
What do we got? So we have somebody writing in, says their outdoor auto is not ready yet. Can you bring it in, put it in your grow tent? How much light? What color? What do you think?
Well, do you have other plants in the house already? That would be my first question. If you're going to bring it into an indoor established garden, absolutely not, because you're going to bring bugs in with it. Okay?
Every time.
There's just no getting around with it. The plant's been outside. It's got bugs embedded down in the bud. It might have caterpillars bedded down in the bud that you can't see because they haven't come out yet. If you have other plants growing in the house, do not bring it in.
Or plan to have others growing.
Because you'll really have to do some damage if you want to get any bugs out that you bring in if you plan to grow inside in the future. You can bring it in and put it in your tent as long as you, again, what we just said. How much light and what color? Well, I guess that's relative. How much light, as much as you can afford to fit in the room without overheating it, and full spectrum all the way. So like I said earlier, if I'm going on a spectrum level, I want 5500 K probably all the way across.
Yep.
So bloom, veg, all of it. So yeah, that's where I stand with it, but I wouldn't bring it in unless it was your only plant, and if you couldn't take it down, there was no way you were going to have medication, then I would bring it in. Otherwise, leave it outside, bring it into a shed so that it doesn't frost and get frozen. Things like that. You can bring it into a shed, stick a light over it, put a space heater in the shed if you need to. I recommend an infrared space heater, not an old school.
I would say that if that auto is quite a ways along, if it's showing really good bud set and it's been out since maybe June or something, maybe you got it in a little bit late, if you're starting to see any brown hairs on it, it's getting close anyway. And I would leave it out. Yeah. I'm a bit of a purist. I would leave it out there. I don't care if it frosts. I'm going to leave it out there.
You're crazy,
because
man.
I tell you what, those frosts will bring out the terpenes, and they will finish right now. Right now. Ask a hemp grower what I'm talking about. As soon as the frosts come in, first good cold snap, real nice cold nights, all of a sudden the CBD flower gets a boost in its potency of CBD and a boost in its terpenes. You cut that plant down before the frost, one after the frost, one 2 weeks after the frost. The longer you wait, the better. And that cold doesn't hurt it at all. I mean, yeah, it's going to burn up the leaves. It's going to make it look a little rough. But you know what? It's outside. That's what it's made for. And especially an auto that is crossed with ruderalis, those guys are naturalized in the northern environments anyway, right? Yep. So I would go right for it. I would leave it outside. Now, if it's still early and maybe you just started it last month and it's young and it's just starting to flower, as long as you don't have anything going inside right now, okay, go ahead and bring it inside. However, make plans. Come down, get you some pesticide sprays, get you all kinds of stuff, talk to some people about how you want to clean out that room wherever you put it after it's done growing. Because once it's done, you want a full nuke and repave of that whole area. I have house plants. I used to keep a lot of house plants before I became a caregiver here in the recent months. And so every fall when I brought those plants in, spider mites would come in, thrips would come in, any old thing would come in, my dogs would come in. It's a mess. Everything wants to come inside because it's warm, man. So be very aware about the pests. Frost, question about frosts and pests. Will it help? Yeah, I mean.
A little bit, depends on how cold it gets. They're pretty tough.
Sure could. I mean, a lot of times what'll happen is until it hard freezes, it's not going to kill them. They'll just go into what's called diapause. It's kind of like a bug hibernation where they'll just chill. So in any event, you might think about, though, doing some rinses on the plants, even if it's a freshwater rinse. Just harvest them, dunk them, rinse it, hang them up, drip dry, then go take it to the drying
What do you think
place.
about peroxide bath?
Don't mind it. Keep it light,
Yeah.
like a cup per 5 gallons, something like that, on
Yep.
the 3% nitrogen peroxide. That'll do the trick. I don't mind it. That's
Some
going to be
people
good
even do
for
a
bacteria.
triple wash. They'll do like baking soda and then peroxide, or is it peroxide and then baking soda? I think it's baking soda dip, then peroxide, and then RO water, and hang it to dry.
Yep. You can throw lemon juice in there
Yeah.
for a fourth.
Okay.
Yep. So let's see.
Not something I'm real familiar with since I don't grow outside.
Yep. Baking sodas for your molds, mildews. Your hydrogen
Mhm.
peroxides for your bacterias.
Yep.
And your lemon juice is for your bugs. It runs them off. But if you're going to use any of those sorts of things, make it pretty light, and you always have to finish with a really thorough water rinse.
Yep.
All those things will come right off if you rinse immediately.
How does that affect the terpenes in the oils?
It affects more when you take it. If you wait until a hot afternoon and take it, that's going to affect it a lot more than any of these rinses. Your trichomes are they're hydrophobic, lipophilic, right? So
Right.
they don't want to mix with water at all. So as long as you're not really going to town on them and you're being gentle, all the medicine's in the trichomes, and it's going to stay put through the process.
I think the only time I've ever done a bath is when I had a powdery mildew issue, and I was in a panic, and I looked it up, and I saw a Jorge Cervantes video on doing the bud wash, and I did it, and I really, honestly, I did it a couple times after that just to see if I really liked it on clean cannabis, and I think that if you're in with the dirty environment, there is definitely a benefit whether or not you need to, because it just seems to be so much cleaner when you rinse it.
Well, you definitely get the feeling by the time you're done. I mean, I literally just did this last weekend.
Yeah.
55 gallons of water, and I rinsed those bad boys, and there were a few bad girls. There were a few of them, and it was crazy when I was done. The water was a light green.
Mm-hmm.
It had taken some of that chlorophyll out already.
Nice.
There were oils on top of the water because plants have oils on them and in
Right.
them. So a lot of those lipids came up and
Yeah.
started floating. I saw bugs, there were dead leaves, there were all kinds of things come off in the wash. So I don't even mind it for indoor. If you think you've had any problem whatsoever,
Bad gnat infestation
wash
or
them,
something like that.
Just
yeah.
wash them. It's not going to hurt
Spider
them.
mite battle.
Trick is to immediately hang them, drip dry them, put a fan on them, get the excess moisture off. Make sure you get into an environment, 60% humidity or
Yep,
less.
low humidity.
Yep.
That way you don't take a chance of getting any bud rot.
Yep, very true. Very true. Now, as we get going with our budget grow, though, and we've got our lights, we've got a little fan inside, we've got soil, it's going to be okay in the winter. Winters are nice and dry, so our soil's going to help bring up the humidity, right, our moist soil. But really soon, spring and summer is going to come around, and it's at that point we probably want to invest in ventilation fans.
I think we should be saving for those during the course of the winter so that we can be prepared to go ahead and buy them when the time comes, because if you haven't bought an inline fan with a carbon scrubber, by the time summer comes around, it won't be long before you find out just how important it is that you get one. So do yourself a favor and start saving the money right when you first start, if you're starting around now, so that you can afford a good ventilation fan. Because that's one of the things, there are a few major pieces of equipment that you need to have a successful grow. Light and a ventilation fan are probably the two most important.
And I guess the idea there is that the ventilation fan is going to be able, if you're just sucking air through this little closet or whatever you're using, this little space, let's just say your fridge, you're just sucking air through there, that's going to help keep that little environment exactly the same as the environment outside it. So as long as you've got central air and you're controlling the environment outside the box, a good fan's going to help rip it through and keep the same environment on the
Absolutely.
inside. Yep.
Absolutely.
Yep, and you're going to need it in the summer because humidity's going to rise in the spring, temperature's going to rise, so all of a sudden that light that wasn't an issue in December is now an issue. So So let's see. Let's take a sidestep again. Let's talk about, if I'm going to go outdoors in the spring, when would I want to sprout those seeds?
Well, about like any other seeds, like tomatoes or whatever, probably start sprouting around mid-February, March.
Yep.
Early March, depending on how much space you have, depending on how big you want the plants to get. Some people want to go ahead and have the plants sexed before they put them outside, and take cuttings off the ones that are female so that they can have the cuttings that they need off of the one that they choose. If you're doing feminized, which a lot of people are doing now, then about February, mid to late February.
Right. It seems to me like it takes about, if I have regular seeds, which are mixed sex seeds, they could be, they're probably 50-50 male, female. If I'm going to drop just one of them because I want to do whatever with it, it probably takes me about 10 weeks to get a real solid sexing on that plant.
Yeah.
Yeah. So by the time it matures, they all mature at a little different rate. Flower it out for confirmation, or take a clone, flower the clone for confirmation. Whatever you got to do, that can take a while. Now, if it's feminized seed,
right,
you can probably, I don't mind feminized seed. It has its place. You can probably move that up to maybe late March finish or start. That might do it. Now, if you want to go right in the ground, you're going to want to wait until 420. That's what's up. 420, that's when the ground's going to be the right temperature to germinate a seed. Pretty good luck. You got to watch it whenever you start indoors, go outdoors. You go from 18 hours of light to the springtime 14 hours light.
Yep.
That's going to mess them up a little bit.
A lot of people this year.
It's going to get janky. I saw it all over the internet long about May.
Hey, my plants are flowering already.
Oh, why are they flowered? Don't worry, 2 weeks they're going to stop flowering. It's fine.
It'll be all right.
They'll be a little fucky, but
do some monster
get
cropping,
right.
huh?
It's fine. It's fine. And there's some tricks too. We're going to talk about that as we go from winter into spring. We're going to start talking about some outdoor growing too, bring in some talent and experience for us. I love it. It's my favorite. I'm kind of sad the season's over, although I got a late finisher that's still out. Going to get some frost. It's going to be awesome. It's diesel. I mean, what are you going to do? You just got to wait for it to finish on its own.
You have to.
I mean, and if it doesn't, if it molds up, then guess what? I ain't planting it next year.
Yeah.
Ain't planting it next year. I got a few of them that I think perform solid in Missouri. If you are going to go outdoor, or even if you're going to go indoor, if you have a few extra dollars to spend, find somebody who has what you need.
Yep.
If you don't have the dollars to spend, grow what you got. Okay? If you can find a friend who has something who will gift it to you, awesome. That's even better if it's a known genetic, if you know where it came from or how it's supposed to perform. Because in a room like that, it's going to need to be a fairly, I call them beginner plants, but they're just really hardy. They can really stand up to diverse conditions, don't take special care in feeding. What do you think? Good plan? You're going to spend money?
Well, yeah, a little bit, but I think, we have to remember that the dispensaries are going to be open fairly soon, and they'll have cuttings, but then you'll be able to choose from a variety of cuttings. Some of them will have cuttings. I don't know,
seeds. I think
a lot of them are going to have seeds.
I think they nixed the cuttings.
Just seeds. Did they nix the cuttings? See, I'm behind on the news.
Yeah, that's bad
I've
news.
I don't like my head buried in the garden.
I don't like that.
Well, that's
it's ridiculous.
Do with the legislature and they're
They've
given up for the year.
Yeah.
Oh well, anyway, so you'll be able to get seeds. So, but I think there are some varieties that grow well outside here and some that don't, and I think a diesel is probably one of those that's on the fence. Depending on how much diesel is actually in the plant. When you're dealing with sativa dominant hybrids, you're gambling outside here. Most of my diesels, they'll come down at 10 weeks. They're really good when you start pushing, 84 days, 85 days.
Yep.
I mean, if you really want to let those terps do their thing, you need to wait till you're just
There's no doubt.
Maybe see one amber trick or a couple amber tricks.
I might be thinking about Thanksgiving by the time it's done. It's possible, but
get your plastic bags out there so you can cover it up.
I don't roll like that. I just let it go. Let it go.
Eric will be out there in his bathrobe and underwear, covering up
I'll
his
just
plants.
give her the old salute, and we'll say R.I.P. Little burial on the side, and off we go. Not a problem. Not a problem. No, and next year ain't coming back.
Yep.
Oh shoot. Well, let's do this. So, if you remember, right here, Team Happy Rock.
Rock.
We are entered into the Auto Grow-a-thon. I've got some video of my personal grow. I'm on a member of this team growing some magic melon auto seeds. We can put that video on there just about any time. Awesome. So what you're seeing here that I can't see is a collection of three planters. There we go. Some moron, maybe me, has their finger in front of it. But these are magic melon seeds. They're auto flowers. I've got my patient tags turned around. These are little 3-gallon pots. They're starting to look pretty happy. About 14 days in. This is my own personal blend of soil. Bad lighting, because that's not my job. But if you look around, they're looking pretty good. They're young. The primordial leaves, the cauldron leaves at the bottom are starting to turn. This one's my favorite, though. I put this one in a 1-gallon, thinking maybe that'll finish a little sooner, just in case. I don't know. It's looking pretty neat. But as we start to look at it, get ready to pause it. James, just kind of get ready. Hold on. Get ready. Stop it right there. Look. What do you think about that? Does that look kind of odd to you? That plant is a polyploid.
Wow. Yeah.
It's got 3 sets of leaves instead of 2, irradiating from the same internodal point. And so if you let it play again and watch as I zoom in here, oh my gosh, this plant is a mutant.
My mind is blown.
This is a mutant. Do we deal with mutants around here?
Double tap.
That's right. Look at that. We got 3 leaves.
Hit that one twice. Pretty cool.
That's right.
That's your terpy.
That's right. That might be a winner. I don't know. What do you think?
I think it's because you put it in that small pot.
Yeah, it's probably the small pot. But
I
tell you what, I got you. Anyway, that's the best.
God.
That's the best I got on the spot. Bring it on, St. Louis.
Hey, brother.
Rally towel. Come on. Oh yeah.
When those terpenes start forming.
That's right.
And those crystals start turning amber, we're going to chop it. We're going to take it down and hang it up and let it dry, and it's going to just be the nectar that wins it all.
I love
We're going to take it home.
Bring it, St. Louis. All right.
Anyway.
Well, I tell you what, guys. It's been a whole lot of fun out here tonight. I always love it. Love coming down here, seeing my friends, talk and grow. Glad for everybody who tuned in. Don't worry, final tag real quick. We're going to hand out some cool prizes. Glad to be here with Big V, KC Grow Coach. How can people get a hold of you?
It's always a pleasure. You can get a hold of me on Facebook on my page, on my group, on my profile. You can go to kcgrowcoach.com. I've got a web page up. That'll connect you in to get a hold of me. So I'm not too hard to get a hold of. You can call me anytime, day or night, as long as it's not after 9 o'clock or before 8.
Whatever,
So,
he'll answer.
I'm
Don't
like
worry
a plant.
about it.
I sleep for almost 12 hours. Okay, I only.
Oh, you're
11.
always flowering.
Yeah, I'm always.
That
in
makes
bloom.
sense.
I am always in bloom, baby.
That makes sense.
Always
Okay.
in bloom.
Okay, this is a bit much. I'm Eric McSwain. I've been your host this evening. It's been wonderful.
And I'm not.
He's not at all. Level up, AV. Love you guys. Thanks for running the con for us. Love the steady hand behind the camera. Cat King Films, love it. And we love being a sponsor of the Evolution. Clay, what do you think? You going to take us home tonight?
Yeah, I just thank you so much, guys. Fantastic information. There's a lot of people out there that are just need your knowledge. You guys have been around the industry for a long time. You know what's up. You started from pennies growing. You're here teaching as professors in the industry. So thank you so much for being on the show tonight. Thanks Heidi Rayl for being here tonight, and Leigh Carr, Hemp. We really appreciated the insight on minors and cannabis, and we hope to continue to push that platform on making it easier for adults that have those kids with disabilities to be able to grow their own medicine with the help of people outside of their own. Obviously, they have full schedules, pretty much, taking care of their kids in that situation. So why not make it easier on them? Alleviate some of that process and some of those legislative rules. And that's something that we're hopefully going to collaborate on, or we are. Hopefully, let's throw that out the window. Let's just say we're going to do that. And our production crew tonight, thank you so much for doing this next Thursday night. It's the same production crew. So get ready for the same production value and the same awesome facility here at Happy Rock Farms next Thursday. It's going to be Big V again back on the show talking about some different auto-grow-a-thon techniques, right?
Auto flowers, and going to have some good knowledgeable people here to help me explain the ins and outs of growing auto flowers.
Awesome.
And harvesting and curing and all that good stuff.
The whole way through, and we've been keeping a pretty close track on a lot of the people that are in the competition with those auto-grow-a-thons. We've heard a few that have kind of already bowed out of the competition. We won't name names, but we will say that we will have more advice if you're looking for that and looking to be that winner in the Cannabis auto-grow-a-thon. Big V will be here. We'll hopefully have some videos possibly of some of the other grows that are going on here on the Happy Rock side, and then we'll check in with some of the grows going on the St. Louis side, and then good luck to the other states because Steve Elgin from Hoosier Sophisticates has already pretty much said it's not going to happen. But
his grow's not going to happen?
No, the other states. It's pretty much going to be a Missouri win. It just boils down to which side of the state the win's going to happen on, I think, is where we're at now. So, thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. Thank you guys for hosting this. Thank you for the production crew. Thanks for the joint for letting us put this on. And tune in next week as we shoot here from Happy Rock Farms with Big V.
Team Happy Rock! Woo! See you!
Good job, guys. And we are out. Good job.